one other area I'd love to address while we're on this topic is that of managing up. And you once said one of the most important things you'll do for the people below you is to take care of the people above you. Yes. Now, some people have a hesitancy to wanting to manage up. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like I'm being political. Yeah. But walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah, I really developed whatever skill I got in this much later in my career than I should have, because for the reasons you say, I'm introverted naturally, but I'm also hierarchically experienced, so I'm hesitant to go up to my bosses and either develop close relationships or to be particularly seeming like I'm sucking up. I don't want to be an apple polisher, and so I tend to hold back from that. And I had to learn a couple of things. The first thing is I'm punishing my organization, because my organization needs to be communicated to my boss. I need to sell my subordinates to my boss. I need to tell my boss how good my team is and the entire organization. So I've got to do a certain amount of information operations on my boss so that they get a real clear view of that. The second is I've got to advocate for my organization, not just how good they are, but for things we need, resources, opportunities, and whatnot. So I've got to do that. And so you learn to help my organization, I've got to work up. But as I got older and I had some really good subordinates who managed me up, I sort of went to school on that. And what I mean by that is I'm a leader at a certain level. I had some subordinates who could come into my office. Remember, I had one, he works with me to this day. He was a captain and I was a lieutenant colonel. And I was a pretty driven guy. But he would walk into the office, he would sit down and put his feet up on the little coffee table in this office. Now, most people couldn't get away with that. But he would lean back and he'd go, "Hey, sir, the boys want to know what's bugging you." And again, that wouldn't come from anybody else, but I had learned that what he was doing is reminding me that I'm acting like something's bugging me. He's communicating to me in his humorous way that I'm being a jerk. And he didn't come in and say, "You're a jerk." What he did was he's saying, "Looks to us like you're acting incorrectly. So what's the problem?" And we joke about it, and he could get me laughing. And so what he's doing, he was managing my morale. He was managing my leadership style. He was teaching me. He was giving me insights. And I had several other subordinates during my career who could come up and they could see when I was under a lot of pressure. They could see when I was drifting off course. And in a sort of deft way, they'd say, "You know, boss, I know you're thinking about this. This is what you're trying to do. Maybe we could go a little different." And in most cases, what they said I was trying to do wasn't what I was trying to do, but it's what I should have been trying to do. And so they sort of deftly say, "We know this is what you're trying to do, therefore." And it was a thoughtful, careful way to not get me defensive, but to pull me in the right direction. The more senior I got, the more I understood how important that is. And senior leaders are very lonely, because you get senior and none of your peers are around you because of the nature of organizations. And they need people to come up, not to be their buddy, but to be their comrade. And I think that that's a skill that we sometimes don't learn except maybe through long experience.